Okay, here's another text effect project for you. This one combines several different elements, and as you can see, it kind of gives like a sort of, it's called paint, and you can see it sort of looks like dripping paint, although mine was a little sloppy, but you know, I did the best I could. All right, so let's show you how to do this one. It's pretty fun. All right, so again, we're going to go File, New, and we're doing that same. If you've seen some of the others, we're doing 1920. Make sure this is pixels by 1080, so 1920 pixels, width, height of 1080, resolution of 72, background of white. Let's go ahead and click Create. All right, now the font that is in the demo is called Pacifico, but it is not in Photoshop by default. So I want you to see if you can add it. You should be able to. It's pretty simple, and I think students can do it. But when you click the drop down arrow, so I'm on the text menu, and you see all the different fonts you can choose from. There's this little icon in the upper right that says More from Adobe Fonts. When you click that, it's going to launch the web browser. And what I want you to do is where it says Search at the top, type in Pacifico, and you should see this family right here. So click on that. And then as you scroll down, you'll see the different versions of Pacifico. So yours will look like this. They'll be off like that. So go ahead and click them on, and then they should come right into Photoshop. Like, you should not have to do anything. They should just come right in it. But if they don't, choose another font that kind of has that flowy, cursive type feel. Okay, but it'll be fine. Okay, so go ahead and make your text black before you go ahead and click out there. Make the size of your text. The size of your text depends on how long your word is. So I'm going to do the word Photoshop. So 500 pixels is pretty good for that. If yours has less letters, then you can probably go a little bit bigger. And you can always see once you put it in there if it's the correct size. So do center here and then just drag your text box out and basically fill the screen with it. And then you'll get that Latin nonsense stuff there. And then don't click away from it. Just start typing and it'll erase all of that stuff. So I'm just going to type in Photoshop and click the check mark and then use my move tool to kind of center it on the screen. And you can see it basically fills the screen. That's kind of what you want. You don't want a lot of dead space around the outside of it. All right, so now we need to add a picture of colorful paint palette. So that is in Google Classroom. You should download it and then add it. So the easiest way, there's a number of ways to add it, but the easy way is just to open up the folder where it's at and then find it, and it's called Paint on my computer, and just drag and drop it in there. And then we're going to use the transform tool. Hold down shift. The transform tool is active by default when you bring it in like this. That's what the box around it means. So rotate it so it's horizontal, and then just stretch it so it at the very least covers up all of your letters, but just cover the whole screen for now. We're going to adjust it a little bit later. And then click enter to get rid of that. And then on this new layer, this paint layer, I want you to right click on that layer, right click on it. And then you're looking for create clipping mask. It's kind of in the center of the image. And what that has done is it is basically attached the paint layer to the text layer, and then the only part of the paint layer that's going to show through is where there are pixels on the text layer, and then everything else in it will disappear. Don't worry at the moment if you don't love what you're seeing on your screen. You'll be able to adjust that towards the end. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add a hue saturation layer. So we're going to go to that black and white circle at the bottom of the layers palette and click on hue saturation. And then when we do that, there's this little clipping icon that's at the bottom of this window that just came up right here. We're going to click that. And then you're probably going to have to scroll a little bit, and you want to see a little check box that says colorize, and we want to check it. And then scroll back up. And the three values that we want to put in for hue is 200, saturation is 100, and then we're going to leave lightness at 0. Now, we'll be honest with you, you can play around with these values if you don't love the way it looks right here, but we're not done. But if you want it to be more in the greenish or purplish range or something like that, you can play around with these values to your heart's content, but don't get stuck on them. Okay? All right, so we're good with that. 200, yep, we're good. All right, so I can click away from that. And what I'm going to do right now is on the text layer, I'm going to highlight that. And I could go right click blending options, or I could just double click in an empty part and we get the blending options to come up. So we're going to do a couple of blending options here. So the first one is going to be bevel and emboss. That's at the top. So click on that. And then make sure you put in exactly what I have on the screen, assuming that mine are all the way I want them. So what we want is we want the inner bevel. So this top one should say inner bevel. We want the technique to be smooth. We want the depth to be 1,000, actually not 100, 1,000. Direction should be up. 8 should be the size. 16 should be for soften. Coming down here further, we are going to do 60 for the angle. My dog is ringing the bell because she wants to go out. She's going to have to wait. 60 for the angle, 30 for the altitude, screen for the mode, 50 for the opacity, darken for the shadow mode, and 50 for that as well. Now I'm going to pause the video so I can let my dog out, and I will be right back. Okay, let her out. Now she's probably going to be jumping at the door to come in before I'm even done with this. Okay, so we just did all the bevel and emboss stuff right there. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to keep this window open, and we want to go to drop shadow. And by the way, I forgot to mention, you'll notice that the part of the image that you can see, yep, she's already back at the window. The part of the image that you can see, you'll see it change as you change some of these values here. All right, so for drop shadow, again, we want normal. We want black as our color. We want the opacity to be 70%. So this first value here, 70%. The angle to be 60. And then these three values here in the center, 5, 0, and 5. And if you've got that, you're good. And you can click OK. So you can see these effects that we've applied have given it quite a bit of depth. All right, so now we're going to right click on the text layer. And we're going to go to rasterize type. We have to do this because the next thing we're going to do with the liquify filter we would not be able to do unless we rasterized the type. So if you miss that, the next part's not going to work. Staying on the Photoshop layer here on the text layer, so yours not say Photoshop. Yours is going to be whatever text you put. We're going to go to filter, liquify. So now a couple things that we want to do here. So first of all, make sure you have the top choice selected, the forward warp tool. Our values that we want for the brush tool options, which this window can be overwhelming, especially if you have a lot of menus that are open. So notice you have these little triangles that you can expand and collapse. I like to collapse them all because otherwise the window goes crazy. So the one you want to look at here is brush tool options. And the options we want are 50 for the size, 75 for the density, and 75 for the pressure. We also want to go into the view options. And you want to have show backdrop unchecked. So if yours is checked, you kind of see through it. We want to just see the black text for right now. This is just our view of it. We're not changing anything as far as like getting rid of the paint or anything like that. So what we want to do right now is give these effect of like this is dripping paint, like we just painted this. So we're going to go ahead, and if you just start clicking and dragging, you can stretch out some of these pieces. Now it'll only stretch so far. I mean, imagine taking your finger and running it through paint, and then you can like grab it again. So this is all just sort of a feel, you know, for how much you want to do. If you go overboard, sometimes it doesn't look so great. So just kind of going to each one here and doing it. If you want to play around with making your brush bigger or smaller, you could go into brush tool options and adjust it there. But you can also use the open and close bracket on your keyboard. So notice how it's getting bigger here and smaller. Those are the two keys that are next to the letter P. So open bracket and close bracket will make it bigger and smaller. So you can play around with that a little bit. But again, less sometimes is more here, but I'm just putting a little bit of drippage in each of the areas here. I'm really going to go big with this one, see what happens. Okay. So you can take as much time as you need with this, but once you are happy, you're going to click OK. And you'll see what we have there, and I actually hate this right here, right now. But I'm just going to leave it because it's just a demo, and you're going to do what you want to do. Okay? All right, now select the paint layer, which is the clipping mask, and then this is an optional step, by the way. Do Control T. And then what you can do is you can actually move the paint layer around if there's certain parts of it that you think look better or worse, depending what you like, and then you just hit enter to accept those changes. Remember, you can always go back to the hue and saturation layer and adjust these sliders as well to see if there's something you like a little better. Again, you're going for something that's kind of pleasing to the eye. All right, last but not least, click on your background layer, and then over in your tools palette, if you don't see the gradient tool, it's where the paint bucket is. I want you to click on the gradient tool, and then you'll notice at the top, you might not see exactly what I see right here. You might see two different colors, but when you click the drop down arrow, there's all these folders that have preset gradients in them. And it's easier for me just to show you what gradients are than explain them if you're not familiar with them. But basically, notice the color change that's happening in this little bar here. So if I click and drag across the screen, now remember, I'm on the background layer. If you were doing this on a different layer, you would mess it up. So make sure you're on the background layer. So notice that when I click and drag, whatever the colors I have up here, the transition from this sort of pinkish to orangish happens. How far you drag is important. If you drag really far across your screen, the transition is very gradual. If you drag short, it'll be pretty sharp, and you can drag at any angle you want. You also have 5 choices up here of the type of gradient you have. So this is a linear gradient where literally you just drag a straight line and it changes on the line. So if I drag at an angle, it'll change at an angle. If I drag down, it'll change, it'll change from up to down. Then you have a radial gradient where it'll be more of like a circular gradient. And again, a short drag will be really severe, a long drag will be gradual. So feel free to play around in this gradient area to get a color scheme that you feel like kind of matches your project and you think enhances it. And again, feel free to play around with these different types of gradients to see what they do. Some are weird. I never like this particular gradient. I don't even know what it's called. I'm going to hover over it. Diamond gradient. That's junk. I don't like it. I also don't like this angle gradient either. I'm a big fan of the linear and the radial gradient. But pick colors that make sense. Try not to wash out your design. Again, make it pleasing to the eye. I don't really know if this is pleasing to the eye, but I'm going to stop right here. All right, so have fun with this. I look forward to what you're going to come up with. Nice work.